Hey, good evening, USA, International, Canada, Long Island, aka Strong Island, plus the five spots of Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, Queens. This is your man and homie G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator, YouTuber, host with the most, misunderstood, lonely nomad, unstoppable independent podcaster, and and of course, Queens, New York native, who is also a New York Mets fan from Laurelton, Queens, New York. And yes, you're now rocking, listening, tuning in and tuning in, listening, rocking with me on the 78th episode of the Sports Edition show. Excellent, fun, vibrant talks podcast. Live and direct from StreamYard alongside with YouTube and along with everything else in between. So um forgive me for the long delay. I was going through a lot actually after being laid off and stuff. So I do apologize for the layoff situation. And I will do some highlights of the topics that I have in the episodes that I have in each episode. So um so the topics that I have right now is going to be the it's going to be some highlights and recaps of what went down this year with the Mets for each episode. That's pretty much how I'm going to do it. Even though even though that the even though that the game is over and stuff, um that doesn't mean I can't um that doesn't mean I can't that doesn't mean I can't really um recap all the games and all the things that happened this year. So um so yeah first and foremost, I'd like to get to um I'd like to get to one of the things that was not looking right for Kodai Senga actually. So we're gonna get into, hang on a second here. Um Hang on one second. Um I will say, hang on a second. Yes. Let's get into a little thing that I like to call the quick side bleacher bar, man. This is where I actually get into where you can actually uh where you can actually get in on the action on what went down. So I got this. So um hold on one second. Hold on one second, folks. Hang on one second. All right. Hold up 1 second. Hold on. I am okay. Now this has not been a great year for Kodai Senga because of the injuries he had. Let's start off with this. So prior to the previous game, which was prior to the previous game, there w- there was all the markings of another banner night for the Mets. Hang on a second. Let me just a sec. Hang on 1 second. Hold on. Hold on. Um yes, okay. So prior to the previous game, there's been some markings of another banner night um involving the Mets. They actually welcomed their ace Kodai Senga back into the fold, celebrating the acquisition of a hard throwing reliever, cruising to a fifth straight victory to move into second place in the NL East for the first time since March, when one of the larger crowds at Citifield all season suddenly went quiet. Um, as he moved off the mound to field, and Austin Riley pop up in the top. Hang on a second. In the top of the sixth inning. Jeez Louise, hold up. Jeez Louise, hold on a minute. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Yeah, Austin Riley pop up in the top of the sixth. Corey Singer grimaced, grabbed his left lower leg and began hopping on his other one. Senga fell to the grass in pain as trainers and other staffers raced up from the dugout surrounding him on the turf. The injury wound up being a high grade left calf strain for Senga, who walked off the field under his own power. But after an MRI on Saturday, he was placed on the 15-day injured list and will likely miss the rest of the regular season. It was grim news for a Mets team that played the first 102 games of the season without their nominal ace, darkening what would have otherwise been an uplifting 8-4 win over the Braves. Um, he's a tough piece to lose, said designated hitter JD Martinez, whose grand slam highlighted a seven run third inning for the Mets. But there's no sense in dwelling on it. He's going to do everything he can to come back, and hopefully he's back by the playoffs. But there's a lot of baseball left, so we've just got to keep it going until un, in, un excuse me until injuring his calf. Senga had been cruising through his first start of the season after taking 5 months to recover from a strained posterior right shoulder capsule, um, resulting complications. He allowed 2 runs over five and a third innings in his debut, striking out 9 batters and hitting 98 miles per hour on the radar gun as the Mets built a 6-run lead. You hate to see it, but look, he was pretty impressive. Manager Manager Carlos Mendoza said, watching him pitch this fastball, the command of his pitches, the splitter, he dominated today. Yeah, you hate to see him go down like that, especially with that, especially with what he's been through the whole year. But people will step up. Yeah. Um. Okay. So. Um. Let's see. Um. Hang on 1 second. The New York Mets and injuries have seemingly gone hand in hand during the 2024 campaign. The injury bug seemingly deals the blue and orange another blow every couple of days. On Sunday, their young third baseman was injured and had to be scratched from the lineup. Before Sunday's series finale against the Seattle Mariners, Anthony DiComo of MLB.com reported that the Mets had to scratch third baseman Mark Vientos from the lineup due to left ankle soreness. With the late with the late lineup movement, the blue and orange had to do some shifting, with Jeff McNeil moving from right field to second base, while Jose Iglesias slid over to the hot corner, and Van Gamel came off the bench. The trio went a combined 2 for 10 in the contest, with a solo shot from McNeil scoring the squad's lone run. Since taking over the starting role, Vientos has been a revelation at third base this season. Through 70 games, the 24-year-old is slashing 270, 324, 536 with 17 home runs and 44 RBIs. Three takeaways from the Mets getting swept by the Seattle Mariners. Mets standout reliever reaches major step in injury recovery. Mets could finally get their chance at acquiring Giants ace in the offseason. The Mets are not too concerned about the injury. Following the Mets' 12-1 defeat at the hands of the Mariners, first-year manager Carlos Mendoza revealed the organization isn't too concerned about Vientos' injury. He's okay, Mendoza said. He was sore. That was why we took him out of the game. I just talked to him, feeling a lot better. Off day tomorrow and see what we've got on Tuesday. But as of right now, we're not too concerned. Who would replace Vientos? If Vientos' ankle continues to act up, Iglesias will likely take over the hot corner in the short term. However, if the 24-year-old does end up needing to be out for a long stretch, the blue and orange would likely call up Brett Beatty from AAA, which never happened. Beatty began the year as the club's starting third baseman, but hasn't appeared in a big league since game big no big league game since June 9th. The Texas native has been putting up stellar numbers in AAA Syracuse, slashing 254, 350, 503 with a 853 OPS across 50 games, while clubbing 13 home runs and driving in 38 RBIs. Time will tell if Beatty needs to be called up to replace an injured Vientos, but it is a situation to monitor over the coming days. Yeah. Okay. So All right, I want to do a breakdown of what a calf strain is and what it, and as far as the symptoms and stuff. So, a calf strain is a tear of one or more of the muscles at the back of the lower leg. They range from very mild, where you may feel a light twinge in the muscle, to a full blown rupture with severe pain and loss of function. Here, we explain the symptoms, causes, treatment, and exercises for recovering from a torn calf muscle. The symptoms to the calf strain muscles. The symptoms to the calf strains. Um, so the symptoms of a calf strain vary significantly depending on how bad your injury is. For example, a mild strain may feel more like an ache during or after exercise. However, a more severe strain feels like a sudden sharp pain at the back of the lower leg. The calf muscle strains are graded from 1 to 3. With grade 3 being the most severe. Now, grade 1 strand excuse me, is a minor tear with less than 25% of the muscle fibers affected. You feel a twinge in the back of the lower leg or simply tightness. You may feel, excuse me, you may be able to on carrying or competing with minimal pain. However, more tension or aching in the calf muscle is likely after. This may take up to 24 hours to develop. Grade 1 strains easily turn into grade 2 strains if not treated properly. Grade 2 strands are more severe, with between 25% and 90% of the muscle fibers torn. You feel a sudden sharp pain at the back of the lower leg. Swelling and bruising usually develops. You are unable to play on, and pushing up on your toes is painful. Grade 3. Grade 3 injuries are the most severe and involve 90 to 100% of the muscle fibers torn or ruptured. You suffer severe and immediate pain in the back of the lower leg. You may sense a pop at the time of injury. Swelling develops rapidly within an hour, and later, bruising. You may even have a gap or deformity in the muscle. If you suspect a grade 2 or 3 injury, we advise seeking professional advice. So, calf strain anatomy. So, a calf strain or torn calf is simply a tear of one of the muscles which make up the m- the calf muscle group at the back of the lower leg. Um, so that would be. Hold on a minute. This is the gastrocnemius, MTJ soleus Achilles tendon. Okay, the calf muscle group consists of the gastrocnemius and soleus muscles. The gastrocnemius is the big muscle at the back of the lower leg. The soleus is the smaller of the two and is located lower down and lies underneath the gastrocnemius. Both muscles contract to produce plantar flexion at the ankle joint. This is the same movement as standing up on your tiptoes. The gastrocnemius, nemius, gastrocnemius is the more powerful muscle that produces propulsion during dynamic movements such as sprinting and jumping. The most common type of calf strain is a tear to the medial inside part of the gastrocnemius muscle. This is often referred to as tennis leg because it was so common in tennis players. In particular, the 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 mus the musculotendinitis. Hold on. The muscular tendin tendinitis tendinoid. Hold on, muscular tendinosis junction, where the tendon joint joins the muscle belly, is a very common point to be injured. Calf strain causes um, calf calf muscle strains usually occur either as a result of a sudden explosive movement or from excessive force overstretching of the muscles. However, there are factors that increase the chances of sustaining a torn calf muscle. Not warming up properly. If your muscles are particularly tight, then they may be more susceptible to injury. The tight calf muscles, over time, your muscles may tighten up and parts of the muscle may go to may go into spasm, either from congenital reasons, um, genetics, or poor footwear. Wearing high heels. If you regularly wear high heeled shoes, this increases the risk of a number of injuries, including calf strains. The muscles adaptively shorten over time and as a result are strengthened in a contracted state. When you wear flat running shoes, they overstretch increasingly, no, increasing the risk of a torn muscle. Now, calf strain treatment. Immediate first aid is to apply the the principle of protection, rest, ice, compression, and elevation as soon as possible. Cold therapy. Apply a cold therapy compression wrap for 10 to 15 minutes every hour initially. Reduce frequency as your symptoms improve. Do not apply ice directly to the skin as it can cause ice burns. A simple reusable gel pack with an elastic wrap is ideal. Rest. In the early acute stage, complete rest is important at least until you can walk pain free. Once the acute phase has passed, then active rest may be more beneficial than complete rest. There is evidence to support the theory that muscles heal with some stress, but this must be controlled. If in any doubt, less is best. Compression and support. Wear a compression bandage or calf support or support the muscle and reduce swelling. Compressing blood vessels in the muscle encourage swelling to drain away from the area. In the later stages, when running and agility exercises are introduced, a heat retainer type support can be worn. This will help keep the muscle warm and improve blood flow. A professional on field first aider or therapist may apply a compression bandage immediately after injury. This will minimize bleeding and prevent swelling, but should only be applied for 10 minutes at a time to avoid tissue damage. Medication. A doctor may prescribe anti inflammatory medication, IB, IB, ibuprofen. This can be beneficial in the first few days after the injury. However, there is some evidence that anti inflammatory medication um, can impair muscle healing. Therefore, it should not be taken for more than a few days after the injury occurred. Do not take IB, IB, ibuprofen if you have asthma and always speak to a pharmacist or doctor before taking medications. Wear a heel lift. Wear a heel wear a heel pad in your shoes. This shortens the muscle, reducing the load on it. Place them in both shoes, otherwise, one leg will be stronger than the other. Later, when you return to running, remove them to avoid your muscles adaptively shortening. Massage. Sports massage for calf strains can be used after the initial acute phase has finished. Do not massage in the first 5 days post injury, longer for more severe injuries. Massage may damage newly formed blood vessels and increase bleeding. Later on, as your injury heals, massage can be extremely beneficial in flushing away tissue fluids and swelling, stimulating blood flow, and loosening tight knots, lumps, and bumps in the muscle. Um, so they, so they have it right there. Hold on. So foam roller for pulled calf muscles. Um, okay, if you do not have access to massage, then using a foam roller can have a similar effect. In the later stages of rehabilitation, it may be used to help mobilize the muscle and fascia, which is sheath surrounding it. Roll along the full length of the muscles for 1 to 2 minutes. Use with a partner, therapist, or on your own. Electrotherapy. A, pro- a professional therapist may use ultrasound to treat your torn calf. It transmits it transmit high frequency sound waves into the tissue. This encourages blood flow, which facilitates the healing of damaged muscle fibers. Ultrasound is particularly useful in the early stages of the injury. So, all right, calf strain rehabilitation and exercises. Um, okay. Our calf strain rehabilitation program has been designed by England and British Lions rugby sports physiotherapist Phil Pask. It is based on what an elite athlete would do and is adapted for people of all ages and abilities. Calf strain references and research. Yeah, I'm not going to get into all that. So, that's pretty much what that is right there, man. That's the whole breakdown for the calf strain. All right. So yeah. All right. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Um. All right. Let's get into something that Willie Mays. So let me see. Um. Hold on a second. Um. Let me. There's. Um. Hold on. Hold on a second. Um, just a second. Hold let's see. Dennis D. Agostino. Okay. Um, hang on 1 second. 1 second. Um, Let's see. All right, so the New York Knicks franchise is in mourning after the passing of team historian Dennis D'Agostino, a longtime behind the scenes staple of the New York sports. D'Agostino, whose age and cause of death were undisclosed by the team, worked in the public relations department for both the Knicks and New York Mets before moving to Los Angeles. The Knicks released a statement in the wake of Agostino. Hang on a second. Just a sec. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, hold on, hold on. Yes, D Agostino, a longtime behind the scenes staple in New York sports. D Agostino, whose age and cause of death were undisclosed by the team, worked in the public relations department for both the Knicks and New York Mets before moving to Los Angeles. The Knicks released the statement in the wake of D Agostino's passing. Dennis passionately and masterfully um, chronicled the story of our organization for more than 3 decades. A statement on the Knicks social media pages reads, a native New Yorker, he offered an artistic reverence to communicating the Knicks legacy to our loyal fan base like no one else could. Our thoughts are with his loved ones during this difficult time. The NBA's official communications channel likewise released a statement referring to D'Agostino as the quintessential public relations expert and a beloved member of the NBA family. Numerous figures from both the metropolitan and national NBA media have offered their condolences and respect for Agostino, including Kenny Albert, Alan Hahn, and Howie Rose. Among the New York fan base, D'Agostino is perhaps best known for penning Garden Glory in 2003, a documentation of the Knicks' first 50 plus season on the Madison Square Garden floor. The non-fiction work features a foreword written by Walt Clyde Frazier, as well as the participation of numerous Knicks legends. D'Agostino has entertained Empire State baseball fans with historic reads centered upon the Mets and Brooklyn Dodgers. D'Agostino is survived by his wife, Helene. So, yeah. Um, yeah. Yeah. Um, okay. So, rumor alert in the air. Okay. Oh, boy. Let's see. So, second half Snell's doing it again. Yeah. Look, okay, so we have okay, so this is trade rumors again. Let me see. Trade rumors again. This is so fucking ridiculous. Ridiculous, right? Um okay, so we have here is so let's see. All right, rumor alerts in the air regarding Blake Snell. Okay, so Snell ends season strong with opt-out decision looming. Has Snell made his final start for the Giants? The 2-year, $62 million contract the lefty signed with San Francisco in March gives him the ability to opt out of his deal this offseason, which would put him on the free agent market once again. Jeez. Jeez. That's crazy, man. Hmm. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. Um. All right. Snell, who won his second career Cy Young Award in 2023, is widely expected to opt out on the heels of an incredible stretch that saw him post a 1.23 ERA with 114 strikeouts over 80 and one third innings in his final 14 starts of the season. Because Snell remained unsigned for so long in his first run at free agency, he didn't end up making a spring training appearance, which likely contributed to his rough start to the 2024 season. The Southpaw made two trips to the injured list early in the year and posted a 9.51 ERA over his first six starts before turning things around. Snell is hoping to sign earlier this time and believes he's shown enough to avoid languishing on the open market for the second straight year. I think that was more on Team Snell said. That wasn't on me. I also think what I was able to accomplish this year will make teams be more aggressive earlier. So I'll be looking forward to that. We'll see. So there you have it. Yeah, there you have it. Um, let's see. Um, let's see. All right. Let's get into what the we're gonna get into the MLB draft and the trade deadline for the New York Mets of 2024. All right. So let's get into it right here. So, a little recap of the annual MLB draft has produced a wide swath of past and modern day stars. The likes of Aaron Judge, Bryce Harper, and Mike Trout, among others, were drafted and went from prospect to star. But how exactly the MLB draft works can be confusing, as there are many complexities, including the format, how the M, how the draft order is determined and compensation. We're here to answer the questions, as here's our in-depth explainer on how it works. So, format and the rounds. So the MLB draft, or the first year player draft, or Rule 4 draft, is a 3-day event featuring the first two rounds on the first day, rounds 3 through 10 on the second, and rounds 11 through 20 on the third day. Thus, only 20 rounds are in the annual draft. The number of rounds in the MLB draft has varied over the years. Each MLB draft lasted 40 rounds from 2012 to 2019, after it cut down from 50 rounds. The 2020 MLB draft only lasted 5 rounds, thanks to an agreement between MLB and the MLBPA before Major League Baseball permanently reduced the number from 40 to 20. Now, who's eligible, you ask? High school seniors who graduated, community and junior college athletes, juniors and seniors in four-year universities, and select draft eligible sophomores who meet the birth date criteria are eligible for the annual MLB draft. We should note that select high school players can reclassify their draft class and enter earlier. This means the reclassifying player will graduate from high school earlier than expected or will enter college earlier. An example of this is in 2024, Cam Caminiti reclassified to the 2024 MLB draft. Caminiti was previously listed as a potential 2025 MLB draft pick. When is the MLB draft held? So, the MLB draft has been held um, in place of mid-July from 2021 to 2024. The 2024 MLB draft will be actually already got held between July 14th to the 16th of this year. It takes place in the conjunction with the MLB All-Star Weekend and before the annual All-Star Game, which already took place. Major League Baseball holds the draft in the city where the All-Star Game is held. From 2009 to 2020, MLB held it in Secaucus, New Jersey, where MLB Network's production studio is located. Before 2021, the MLB draft was held in June. This strategically made sense. Many players selected in the draft would go to short season leagues, which began in mid-June. Short season leagues, aside from the complex and Dominican summer leaguers, were cut from the MILB food chain in 2020. When do players have to sign? Teams only have 2 weeks to sign players. In 2023, the MLB draft took place from July 9th through the 11th, and the signing deadline was July 25th. One quirk to this is the draft and follow rule. which returned in the 2022 CBA. This enables players and teams to bypass the signing deadline, but there are rules. Namely, the player must be from a junior college and selected in rounds 11 through 20. Those players can be signed up to the start of the following year's MLB draft. What happens if a player doesn't sign? Should a team not sign a first, second, or third round pick, the team would in turn receive a draft pick the following year as compensation. Notable players in recent years who didn't sign after being selected in the first round include Nick Loda, include um Nick hold on Nick Lodolo, Matt McLean, and Kumar Rocker. The pick received would be equal to the pick number number plus one. For example, a team that doesn't sign the 10th overall pick would receive the 11th overall pick the next year. Some players who don't sign don't though can also affect how much money an MLB team can spend in the draft. Signing bonuses and draft pool slots, every MLB team, Emmy, excuse me, every MLB draft teams receive a certain amount of money that can be spent for each draft. This total is determined by the slot money of each team's picks in the top 10 rounds. Higher draft picks reward higher draft pool money. Should a team not sign a player drafted within the top 10 rounds, the slot money um, get gets deducted from the pool. To save money towards players who will command larger signing bonuses, many MLB teams will take some graduating seniors or fifth year players in rounds 5 through 10. These players don't have much leverage and will take smaller bonuses. After the 10th round, any team can sign a player for as much as $150,000 without that bonus counting towards the total pool. Anything over that amount gets subtracted. For example, a player in the 12th round who signs for $200,000 will take $50,000 from the team's over pool. No, excuse me, overall pool. Now let's take a look at how the order for the MLB draft works. How is the MLB draft order determined? The MLB draft order is largely determined by the reverse order of the previous season's standings and postseasons, meaning that the defending World Series champion in 2024, the Rangers, will pick last, followed by the loser of the World Series and so on. However, this is not the only component. Major League Baseball instituted a draft lottery in 2022 that determines the top 6 picks in the MLB draft. 9 playoff teams are entered in the lottery. This is done to deter tanking, but there are some quirks. For one, pair clubs are not eligible for the MLB draft lottery in consecutive seasons or plays that pay rather than receive revenue sharing. Per the 2022 to 2026 MLBPA collective bargaining agreement, the Yankees, the Mets, Dodgers, Angels, Cubs, White Sox, Blue Jays, Athletics, Giants, Nationals, Phillies, and Red Sox fit that definition. However, the Athletics, set to leave Oakland after 2024, received an exemption from what no excuse me from that and are eligible for revenue sharing. Wow. Wow. Anyway, per the 2022 to 2026 CBA, teams with a market score of 100 or above are considered paid clubs in terms of revenue sharing. Revenue sharing teams are only eligible to net a top six pick in the two consecutive seasons. This season means that teams that meet either of the above criteria are dropped out of the top nine and can draft no earlier than 10th. Hence, why the Nationals will pick 10th, even though Washington technically won the 2024 MLB Draft lottery. Teams that exceed the competitive balance tax threshold for two consecutive seasons will have their first round pick dropped by 10 slots the following year unless one wins a top six pick. Now, we go to the competitive balance picks. Every year, Major League Baseball awards competitive balance picks after the first and second rounds, otherwise known as competitive balance A or B. These picks are awarded to teams either in the 10 smallest markets in Major League Baseball or the 10 with the lowest revenue. Some overlap, resulting in the number being fewer than 20. Um, MLB awards these picks to teams. These teams can be traded, but only the team trading those picks can move one time. Once the pick is traded, it can't be moved again. Free agent compensation. Okay, so here's how free agent compensation for the MLB draft works. Teams that lose players qualified in the offseason are eligible to receive an MLB draft pick as compensation. However, there are layers to this qualification. Competitive balance payers receive a fourth round draft pick, regardless of contract. Revenue sharing receivers that lose a player will receive either a pick after CBA, which a player signed for $50 million or more, or the CBA or CB or CBB less than $50 million. Any team that doesn't fit in either category receives a pick after the second round. Now let's look at how pick forfeitures in the MLB draft works. Okay, teams cannot only receive but also forfeit draft picks for signing players qualified by their previous teams. CBT payers, not sure what that is. Anyway, lose their second and fifth highest picks in the following draft, plus their third and sixth highest should another sign with the same team. Revenue sharing teams lose their third highest pick and fourth for a second qualified player. Lastly, teams that don't fit in either category lose their second highest pick and third for a second qualified player. Additionally, MLB teams can lose picks as part of punishments. The Astros lost picks after MLB's sign stealing investigation in 2019 to 2020. Can MLB picks be traded? Only competitive balance round A and B picks can be traded. No other picks can be dealt. All right, so to prevent service time manipulation, MLB instituted the prospect promotion incentive beginning in 2023. Simply put, if teams that promote an eligible prospect for their opening day roster keep him on the roster for the entire season, and that prospect receives significant consideration for an award, the team would be eligible to receive a draft pick in the first round. In 2023, the Mariners received the 29th pick used on Johnny Farmelo after Seattle promoted Julio Rodriguez for opening day 2022. Rodriguez won for 2022 AL Rookie of the Year. Similarly, Corbin Carroll and Gunnar Henderson netted draft picks for their teams after the two won the Rookie of the Year awards in 2023. To be eligible, a prospect must appear on a top 100 preseason prospect list for at least two of the following outlets, such as ESPN, MLB Pipeline, and Baseball America. Who was the first MLB draft pick of all time? Former Dodger outfielder Rick Monday was the first ever MLB draft pick selected by Los Angeles in 1965. Wow. That's pretty good to know, actually. That's good to know. Um let's see. That's really good to know, actually. Um so yeah, there you go. There you go right there. And as for the deadline, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that though. Um, let's talk about that. Let's see. Um, let's see. Um, All right. Going to. All right. So obviously, um, there was. Yeah, there was a trade that went down this year. Um, so highlights. Okay, so after Max Scherzer was traded to the Rangers on Sunday afternoon, um, General Manager Billy Epler was um, emphatic. It was a strategic decision. It was not a rebuild, not a fire sale. Yet the MLB trade deadline came and rolled through the Mets clubhouse like a tornado. The aftermath was hard to recognize. The Mets proved to be the ultimate sellers across Major League Baseball, adding three-time Cy Young winner Justin Verlander, outfielder Tommy Pham, and relief pitcher Dominic Leone to the growing list of veteran departures at the end of trading on Tuesday. Those exits from key difference makers in the starting rotation, top of the lineup and bullpen were heaped on a wild five 5 day span that also included the exits of Scherzer, closer David Robson, and outfielder Mark Canha. After the deadline, Epler reiterated the team's strategy to capitalize on opportunities to upgrade the team's farm system at the right price amount. Um, we're just trying to restock and reload the farm system. Apple said you have to kind of go through a little bit of pain to get where we want to go. I feel that the organization is making strides towards a better future. After entering the season with the goal of winning the World Series, it was a jarring sell off that will likely see the remainder of the. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy though, man. Anyway, we're talking about for 2020. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We're talking about for 2020, 2024. I'm sorry. So there was nothing splashy about what David Stearns did at the Mets trade deadline, to be sure, but he was efficient, finding upgrades for the bullpen and adding starting pitching depth without giving up significant prospects, no small matter considering the exorbitant 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 cost of pitching around the majors, including the deals made in the days and weeks leading up to the deadline. The Mets acquired four relievers, one starting pitcher, and a lefty bat at a lefty bat, which I will actually, um, yeah, lefty bat in Jesse Winker. Uh, yeah, all in all, it's probably not the haul Mets fans were hoping for, or perhaps Brennan Nimmo either, considering how public he was about wanting his front office to be buyers at the deadline. But most notably, the trade should help the bullpen, which has been the weak link in the ball club. Phil Maton acquired a couple of weeks ago, has looked good so far, while um Huascar Brazaban, who comes over from the Marlins, has the stuff to be available, late inning reliever. Um, and in acquiring Paul Blackburn from the Oakland A's on Tuesday, Stearns got a back end starter who could replace Tyler McGill, which is not happening. The in the rotation, and perhaps just as important, allowed the Mets to leave converter starter Jose Budo in the bullpen, where he has been very effective. Um, 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 Here are the grades for the individual deals and overall deadline performance. Um, yeah, I'm not even gonna really hang on a second. I'm not even gonna really um all right. I'm going to all right, I'm gonna save the rest of this for um another time actually. Um let's see what else. Okay, Mets fan brings a unique style to Citifield in Flushing, Queens, New York. Hold on a second. Hang on one second here. Um, let's see. Um, let's see. Um, oh boy. Okay, so reasons why the Mets should keep Pete Alonso. Let's see. Um, let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Um, oh my god. Oh, all right. Many reasons why Pete Alonso should stay. Let's see. I'm trying to find it though. Hold on 1 second. Let me see. Oh man. Let's see. All right. I'm not even gonna really go there with the. Okay, hold up. Hold on. Should be why. Hold up. I can't find it. Um, Um, okay. What the hell's going on here? All right, it was brought to my it was brought to the attention of the Major League Baseball community, courtesy of USA Today's Bob Nightingale, that general managers remain convinced that the New York Mets will make Pete Alonso and JD Martinez available in trade discussions. Um, so with the trade deadline already set for July 30th, already happened. Um, just about every team has begun to think about what moves to make for themselves. That includes the Mets, who are currently uh, starring at a 2021. Nah, that's something else. Okay. Um. So why would it be a huge mistake for the Mets to trade Alonso? So this is probably one of the most important characteristics you want in a player: leadership. Alonso has been with the Mets since 2019 for five and about less than a quarter seasons. This guy has demonstrated how to be a leader on a team. His influence on everyone, including the young players who joined the team throughout his tenure, only increases his value as a player. In other words, he has become the latest face of the franchise. If the Mets were to trade Alonso, they are going to have to find someone else who has the potential of showing true leadership and maybe even being a team captain. Think about the David Wright days and how he became captain. Alonso has done just that. It's a little odd that the Mets haven't explicitly considered him a captain to this day, but that's what he is in the fans' hearts. The home run power. Another important thing here is the power, especially when it comes to the long ball. Before this season began, Alonso had hit 192 home runs, which at the time had been tied with Howard Johnson. He has already passed Johnson now. The reason to not trade him also goes hand in hand with the fact that every time he is either the tying or winning run at the plate in games, you know it's a dangerous situation. That's why if you watch the games, you hear the announcers emphasize his power so much. He is capable of hitting a home run at any given moment. And that's exactly what the Mets need. His love for New York. Let's not forget about Alonso's love for the Big Apple. He has repeatedly said that he wants to be a Met. He also has expressed his gratitude towards the fans. How else did LFGM become a thing? Yes, that was from Alonso. If you are a Met, if you are the Mets and are aware of Alonso's feelings, keep him. Yeah, his reliability. Um, as for Martinez, he was signed by the Mets late in spring. Yeah, his reliability. It feels like a deja vu. Um, yeah. I mean, also another reason to keep him is because from what I've seen, he saved the season with a home run. As a matter of fact, let me see where. Yeah, because and you know what? Yeah, he he also reflects on the time being a Met actually. So this is interesting right here. And according to this from MLB, of course, um, that's crazy though, man. As Mets players filtered out of the clubhouse late Sunday evening at Dodger Stadium, boarding a bus back to the team hotel, Pete Alonso sat at his locker and added his signature to a bat. At various intervals, teammates and members of the Mets traveling party filed over to offer their condolences to say goodbye. In a clubhouse full of impending free agents, Alonso is by far um, the most notable. One of the longest tenured Mets and part of the franchise's offensive core. Alonso could be elsewhere by February. He understands that even if in the aftermath of the Mets 10-5 loss to the Dodgers um, in National League Championship Series Game 6, he offered only a cloudy view of his future. Um, so, yeah. And he said, and quote, honestly, I'm just really, yeah, I just, I don't know, Alonso said when asked about his emotions entering free agency. Right now, I'm just kind of shell shocked that the season's over because once you get on this postseason run, you kind of don't think that it's going to end. Alonso is one of the most significant reasons why the season's lasted until Sunday. His go ahead 3-run homer in the ninth inning of the Wild Card Series Game 3 brought the Mets back from the dead, springboarding them into the NL Division Series and eventually the NLCS. Alonso stayed hot for the rest of the postseason, homering 3 more times and reaching base multiple times in each of his final 3 games. But it was not enough for the Mets to advance to the World Series. Instead, Alonso's last act as a Met for now, at least, will be a charter flight back to Queens on Monday morning. Honestly, I haven't really thought of anything beyond that, he said. I love this team. I love this organization. This fan base has treated not just myself, but my family so well. Right now, I'm just thinking of the group. We'll see what happens. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But I love New York. I love this team. I love playing in Queens. This group is really special and the memories that we've created together are just wow. This is why we play baseball. Few players have been in the organization longer than Alonso. The Mets' second round draft pick in 2016, never considered a blue chip prospect in part because of his defensive limitations. Alonso nonetheless forced his way onto the 2019 opening day roster and became a star, crushing a major league rookie record 53 homers his first season, and a clubhouse star for leadership following David Wright's retirement. Alonso offered hope. He gained a notable nickname, the Polar Bear. Some trumpeted him as a future captain. Five more productive seasons followed, as well as a pair of home run derby wins that he considers career highlights. Over 6 seasons, Alonso belted 226 homers, which ranks third in franchise history behind only Darryl Strawberry, 252, and Wright, 242. Wow. He'll get there, man. He'll get there. Um, yeah. So let me see what the hell's going on here with trying to um so the Mets' decision to carry Alonso on the opening day roster. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Hold on. What the hell's going on? All right. Give me a moment. I'm sorry. My tablet. All right, where was I? I'm sorry. Anyway, where were we? All right, so the best decision to carry Alonso on the opening day roster in 2019, however, resulted in him accruing his sixth full year of major league service time this summer, enough for him to become a free agent. He'll be one of many alongside JD Martinez, Jose Iglesias, Sean Manaea, Luis Severino, Jose Quintana, and others. So, you know, to be determined on what's going to happen in the off during the off season talks. Um, you know what I mean? So, and yes, there's a possibility I am going to be covering some off-season talks for you folks out there. I actually am considering doing that as well. So, um, so yeah. Um, so anyway, good luck to Pete Alonso and success. I hope he returns. I hope he returns to the Mets as well because um, it it would be it would be a huge mistake to let him go. You know what I'm saying? It would be a huge mistake to let him go, man. And you know what's funny? You know what's funny? I actually hear certain people talk about it, even podcasters, and especially from you know, especially I don't want to say any names on here, so especially from a podcast that I was listening to on YouTube. But here's the thing, man. Here's the thing, man. I feel like you need to keep him. Where else are you gonna find another power bat though? You're not gonna you can't replace you cannot replace a power bat like Pete Alonso. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if hypothetically speaking, if Pete Alonso didn't return to the Mets, it would be it would be a big regret. It would be a big regret and a bunch of backlash. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not one of those New York Met fans who gives up on a player. That's not me. You know what I'm saying? Eh, you know what I'm saying? It's not just about um it's not just about the money. It's it's about understanding what it feels like to be to be a New York Met fan. And for me, whenever I hear rumors about whenever I hear rumors about the whole Pete Alonso thing and all that other stuff, you know, if he didn't talk about it, then it's a rumor. All right. I know certain people are just speculating. But you know what? It is what it is, man. So anyway, let's see what else we have to talk about here. Um yeah, so off season's already started right now, actually. I'm not sure exactly when it starts, but um, during the off season talk, we're gonna I'll get some more information in regards to Pete Alonso and all that other stuff. So I got y'all. Don't worry. And let's see. Yeah, I talked about the Citi Bike thing on my other podcast already, so I'm not going to talk about it here. So yeah, and I already talked a little bit about David Stearns, who got hired and all that other stuff, and what he's done. Well, actually, what he's done is push the right buttons, and yeah, that's it. So yeah, that's about it though. Anyway, let me see. All right. I think I'm gonna wrap up right here, right now, man. Listen, look, man, this has been a good episode right here, man. And like I said, I do apologize for holding up the other episodes, the upcoming episodes and stuff. I've been going through a lot, as far as like losing my job and all that other stuff. So you know what I'm saying. So so yeah. Anyway, man, I think I'm gonna wrap up right here. This is gonna be it. So let's wrap up here in a little segment that I like to call Stream Choices on the Go. All right. Let's do this. Stream choices on the go. Hold on 1 second. Wait for it. There you go. All right. Make sure you follow Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast on Threads, alongside with my other podcast shows that I do, which is Meticulous Vibe Juice podcast, Off the Meat Rat Chains New York Avenue podcast, alongside myself, G Money Stacks 555. It's the same as it's the same username as it is on Threads, so it's the same. So it's on Instagram as well. So don't worry about that. Anyway, 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 be sure to follow on Instagram, be sure to follow on Threads and all that great stuff. And if you go to the link in bio where it says Linktree / G Money Stacks 555. No, excuse me. G Money Stacks. Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on. Linktree / Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast. Hold on a second. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm losing it right now. I'm sorry. So it's Linktree / Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks pod. My apologies for that, man. I'm just trying to actually I'm just trying to get off of this right here. So anyway, so if you go, like I said, man, if you go to the link in bio where it says Linktree / Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks pod, you're gonna see a whole list of stream platforms whatsoever. And I'll fill you in on the stream platforms and the sports YouTube channel pages where they cover the Mets and everything else in between. So let me start off with Odyssey, Audible, Amazon Music, Breaker, Bullhorn FM, Castbox FM, Deezer, Listen Notes, Moon FM Podcast, Overhaul FM Podcast, Player FM Podcast, Pocket Cast, Podfriend, Podhound, Podopolo, Podorama, Podcast Index, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Podverse, Podcast Guru, Podvine, Snipped, Spotify for podcasters, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Fountain, Radio Public, iHeartRadio, the #1 app where you can listen, stream, and watch episodes for free. You don't need a credit card or debit card to download iHeartRadio. All you need to do is go ahead and subscribe on iHeartRadio and other streaming platforms that, like I just mentioned. And of course, be sure to also subscribe to the YouTube channel, sports YouTube channel page, Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast. All right. Grab that subscribe button for me. Also share. Be sure to listen, stream, watch. Be sure to add the podcast to your playlist. Be sure to enable alerts so you don't miss out on new episodes. And and when I will be on the air via live stream recording new episodes. All right. And be sure to also, 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 um, be sure to tell a friend to another friend. And be sure to, tell a friend to another friend. Be sure to share the link. Share the link with the podcast. Um share the link with the podcast that has Linktree slash um Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast. Yeah, Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks pod, excuse me. Sorry. Be sure to share that with your husbands, your wives, your boyfriends, girlfriends, people you're cool with from work and everywhere else where you meet new people. All right. Also, if you like to get more Mets news and all that other stuff whatsoever, I got you right here. Of course, starting with Shays and Sons podcast, Till Mets Do Us Part, Subway to Shay, Subway to Shay podcast with Anthony Rivera. Um, and of course, be sure to yes, Empire State of Baseball podcast. That's also on there as well. Shea Station, Locked On Mets, and of course, be sure to subscribe to. Let me do this actually before I even let me do this. Yeah, be sure to subscribe to Locked On Sports New York YouTube channel where where you have where you have Locked On Mets postcast. You have Locked On Jets postcast as well, alongside with Locked On Giants, New York Giants postcast. You also have the Yankees as well. And of course, be sure to subscribe to those channels. Cup of Mets Therapy, Wardy NYM, a show about the New York Mets Fix. Be sure to subscribe to First Time Caller, Long Time Listener. Of course, be sure to check that podcast out. Be sure to be sure to be sure to check out Digging Weekly and Digging Deep podcasts. Be sure to check out He Did This to Me podcast alongside with CP's Mets and Knicks, Mets Central, um, Mets Up podcast, Subway Sports Talk, Mets podcast, We Gotta Believe, the Sick podcast, Mets Magic, alongside with Jake Brown. Um, all things Mets talk, Filthy Sports, by John Campia, Foul Territory, Unpopular Opinion Sports Talk Nation, um, Dead End, Dead End Sports. You have Locked On Sports Today podcast 24/7. Stories in the NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, and NCAA. You have Mayday with Trevor May. Why am I a Mets fan? Future of Flushing. You have, I did mention that too. You know I'm right podcast, Talking Baseball, MLB podcast, the Mets Pod, Mets Weekly. I just mentioned that. Yeah, Mets Weekly. Um, Rico Bronya and Evan Roberts podcast. Of course, National League Town, a Mets podcast, and be sure to let me make sure that I that I mention this too. Let me make sure I mention this. Top Bunk Sports. Be sure to subscribe to their channel too. Meet at the Apple. Be sure to check out their podcast on the New York Mets YouTube channel. Be sure to and and yes, this has been a good show right here. I appreciate every single one of you. You could have listened to any podcast in the whole world, but you chose to listen to this podcast right here. All right. And I'm your man G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator. Thank you very much for listening and tuning into the episode and the podcast as well. I appreciate every single one of you for tuning in. It really means a lot. And remember, the grind doesn't stop. Hard work pays off. If you want something, you have to work hard and earn it. All right. Also, this, even though even though even though even though you have your ups and downs, especially with what people go through and all that stuff, all you need to do is, you know, and it's really interesting that Chris Schubert from Locked On Mets postcast was saying that it's not so much about you know you know it's not really so much about losing per se. Actually, let me just say this though in my own way, actually. So let me just say this though. It doesn't matter whether you win or lose. It's all about it's about how you play the game. You know what I'm saying? It's all about how you play the game. And I feel like, look, I feel like sometimes, yes, you're gonna have your disappointments in terms of in terms of how it ended, as far as like the way the way this season ended. But guess what though? Guess what though? You're not going. Guess what though? You're not going to. You're not going to be down in the dumps for a long time. I tell you that much. Let's just let's just um let's just put it to rest, man. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that the Mets can actually prosper. They will prosper no matter what. And like I said, it's not a matter whether you win or lose. It's all about how you play the game. So there you go, right there. You go, right there. Look, I love every single one of y'all, and I will be back with more Mets news, as far as like the as far as like the as far as like the sorry about that. Um as f- yeah, as far as like how to, come back from a long hectic loss and all that stuff right there. You don't need to be down in the dumps to actually um yeah, you don't need to do that. Um what I like to say about the whole thing is, you don't need to be down in the dumps. You don't need to look, mistakes is going to happen. You mistakes is going to happen. You're not going to be able to win every single game. The thing about that is, you are going to be you're determined to take things day by day. That's all you need to do. Take things day by day. Doesn't matter what the amount of losses or anything like that happens. It happens to everybody. All right. So let me close out. Peace and one love. I appreciate every single one of y'all for listening, tuning in, and rocking with me. One love. I'm out of here. Good night, everybody. Yeah, peace and well love. Good night, everybody.